Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to welcome everyone to the special call fiscal court meeting for June 26, 2024. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Judge.
Morning, Judge. Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
So commissioners, I need a motion to have Treasurer Muse serve as the clerk for this meeting. Clerk Schumacher is a conference this morning.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. So prior to coming together for the business of the day, I think it's appropriate we take a moment to join this court in a moment of silence for our good friend and former Maysville Fire Department Chief Kevin Doyle, whose services will be later today. He's a good friend to the county and good friend to the court. Thank you. Tonight on clerk, let's do another roll call. You'll get roll, please.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. So commissioners, in your packet, you'll see ordinance 24-03, second reading of an adoption for Mason County Fiscal Court budget for 24-25. Prior to moving to approval, I wanted to highlight a few items. You will see this budget has grown from right at 25 total million to projected 27,823. That also represents 3.2 million in the occupational taxes coming in, but also represents outside of that expected revenue about a $250,000 decrease outside of those projected revenues. Some items that overall are true for all funds. We continue to see significant increases in petroleum, gas, and diesel. We continue to see insurance increases from health to liability, property, auto, and equipment. However, I do want to compliment our loss ratios on our work comp policy have been the lowest this court has ever seen. Cost of goods. This budget does include raises that will approach 4% on average. Every employee is reviewed individually, and of course we're still seeing utility increases and the retirement withholdings, at least to the state this year, decreased. Within the general fund, I'll highlight, as previously mentioned, the full year's projection for the occupational taxes within this budget, expecting 3.2 million in increased revenue. Assessments are up across Maysville and Mason County, approximately 42 to 44 million dollars. We're seeing a significant increase in the amount of grant funds, and specifically for the animal shelter. And we are anticipating, and those are reflected in this budget, for grant funds for Cummins Nature Preserve. Within the road fund, CRA monies increased, while, of course, we've all watched as the state road aid has decreased, and they have transitioned that program over to more of a year wait period. Fully stocked on rock salt, road salt for the year. Within your jail fund, Class D monies from the state have increased. Also, Jailer Yuri and I are tracking some findings from the court about the state more efficiently reimbursing local jails for state inmates. Waiting to see what the next step in that will be. But also your Lewis County inmates have returned to the Mason County Detention Center. In your LGEA, you're seeing your mineral severance taxes are up. You'll remember 3-4 years ago that those funds all but zeroed out, right? Landfill, the tipping fee increases are in there. We're seeing an increase in trash tonnage, but inversely also, you'll see the compactor lease is in there, and also all phase 6 monies are accounted for in that in the budget today. Treasurer News, anything to add?
Yes, I'll read the ordinance. This is second reading and adoption of the 24-25 budget, ordinance 24-03. We have in the general fund this year, we have $9,564,866. That's a small difference from the first reading to account for $2,000 difference in principal and interest payments, so that has been changed in there. Road budget is $2,610,358.98. The jail budget's $4,323,517. LGEA $847,675. State $123,815. Federal, $467,000. That also is the only other change, was the same thing for principal and interest payments. I inverted a few numbers, so I had to change the amount to match the amortization schedules. Solid waste is $438,050. Landfill, $8,338,000, and garbage, $1,110,100, for a total budget for 24-25 of $27,823,381.98. And those will be changed in the budget, those two amounts, before they're sent back in.
Was that the only changes that came back?
That's it. It was great, yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioners, also in your packet, you'll see the verification of the budget in our local ledger independent. Questions, comments, and/or motions to that?
One question.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure appropriate time, but I know we had talked, there had been some talk about, I know you mentioned the increase in the car insurance and fleet insurance. And we talked about a plan maybe moving forward with maybe our local our fire departments. We still discussing that? Is it still?
We expend north of $133,000 a year covering auto liability and property casualty coverage for our volunteer fire departments through CAECO, but then sub-insured through a second insurer. Last year, the overall deductible on that, I think, was right at either 500 or 1,000. We have increased that to 1,500
Correct.
per incident, which all but kept our costs on those plans.
Gotcha.
So, are the fire departments responsible for the 1,500 deductible?
Yes, ma'am. Should they have a loss? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
I see no concerns. I would make the motion that we approve the budget as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any additional additions, discussions, or deletions? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I have one more thing for you this morning, and that is to approve the vendor claims as presented, and the total of those, oh my goodness, that's small, $46,242.44.
So moved.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any additions or deletions? Additional comments?
Kim, what is SWAC?
SWAC.
SWAC.
That's I'm sorry, SWAK or CK?
SWACK. Is it a?
That's a solid waste training
Okay.
for our enforcement.
Okay.
Any additional questions, commissioners? Roll call, we got a motion and a second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioners, also, for your information, the compactor, garbage compactor that we ordered, from Bluegrass. I forget-
Municipal equipment?
Yep, municipal equipment, arrived there at the landfill yesterday. We still need to do some outfitting, on it, get some decals on there, but, that will hopefully by our next fiscal court meeting will be in service and rolling. Did want to report that too.
Deal.
So that brings up our new business. I want to bring up to the court, we have had a request for pressure washing at the Justice Center from Judge Schumacher and his team. The second story windows do need addressing. I've seen Dix went over and looked at it. AOC, we have checked with AOC. They will reimburse, and so I think we got a quote, or have we heard back from? Okay, we're working to get a quote. I'm not quite sure the ballpark that will be in, but we do have affirmation, at least that AOC will reimburse us for the expenses on the bill. And so we'll proceed forward with that. Unless there are any objections from that. Okay. Also, I want to bring up, we have had several citizens over the last month bring up about our horse buggies, Amish buggies that are out in the county, and have requested that this court discuss mandating of what are known as catcher bags that follow behind the horses to catch, of course, the manure, as opposed to it getting on the road. One, in the state of Kentucky, we have agricultural supremacy laws. It's kind of on one side of this debate, but also the other side of the debate is you know, we expend monies for citizens to clean up after their dogs in downtown. And so wanting to hear viewpoints on the approach out in the county for catcher bags on buggies. Is this something we want to pursue? Is this something?
Judge, but before we would look to pursue that, is it possible for you to maybe reach out to somebody in that community
Yes, sir.
to see if there would be some cooperation and maybe helping that problem take care of itself
I think
another
that would
way?
be-
And if there's not, then maybe we have to look, you know, move forward and look at something. But to me, that would be the first avenue to pursue.
I think that would be prudent. I think that would be
I
prudent.
agree with that, yeah.
At least have a discussion with the bishop and others in the community, get what feedback we can, and we will bring that back to the court. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Lastly, I want to report, we've had the state fair folks reach out a couple of times for a booth. It is the 120th year of the Kentucky State Fair, and they, of course, maybe they want all 120 counties participating. I have talked with Ms. Corinne Phillips, also Michelle, on her staff, Michelle, I can't remember her last name. And so we explored several different avenues of getting representation there at the State Fair for Mason County. We did find an avenue from tourism in the northern Kentucky River region, which Maysville and Mason County is a part of. The Grafton County Tourism Director is fine to grab some Mason County swag, symbols, things like that, and help man the table. The difficulty in this is finding enough volunteers to man a table from 11 to 14 days, and the associated hotels and things like that. My question, so I think we have a good answer in participating with this regional group, but my question is the court interested in paying the $500 for, as the contribution for our booth?
I mean, I would be on board with that.
Would not?
Would.
Would.
Absolutely. I think we need representation from Mason County at this state fair. And in regards to possibly, like you say, teaming up with other organizations or even surrounding counties.
Sure.
To possibly help share the burden of trying to get the volunteers. But absolutely, I think we should be well represented, especially being the 120th year and there's 100. I think there's some similation between
Yes, sir.
But absolutely, I'm on board with that.
I think we've had
In the past,
some of our citizens in the past have been very involved, the State Fair Board. So I would lean toward pursuing that. And what exactly will, I mean, it'll give us a booth? Is what the-
I'm looking for a kind of middle ground. We will have representation on the regional table.
Mhm.
But also given Mason County's prominence at the Kentucky State Fair, you know, the other end of the spectrum is, you know, getting booth rental and having our own standalone booth that these representatives with the Northern Kentucky River Region, which is a collective of
Mhm.
tourism boards across our region, would also man. So, you know, in essence, with the $500 contribution, I think we would have representation there at the River Region table, you know, which kind of, you know, gives us credit for participating. But, you know, we'd also go a little bit above and beyond and have our own table that would have swag there. And between now and August, you know, any volunteers we could find, you know, would be more than welcome to go and represent Mason County. But I want to be clear, you know, by participating with this river region, I mean, technically, Mason County will have representation there. But it won't be like our own table or anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
I think, I'm not in favor of that. I think we need to start cutting back on things, and I'm just not in favor of that. Are we gonna be putting people in hotels or anything like that?
No, ma'am, we
No,
can't
ma'am.
afford it.
Now, we used to have a budget for like, was it 10 to 12,000, but then like
Yes.
I agree with Peggy.
Is it in the budget to do that?
No.
No,
Then
we used to
I
years
don't
ago.
agree with that. It's not a good idea.
But,
And, you know, at our last meeting, we, you know, a portion of that ad we took out, you know, also highlights the Kentucky State Fair, not just Germantown. So that is a contribution towards.
Right.
So this would just be a $500 contribution. I would be okay with that, you know, and that only right now, and evaluate how it is what we think our benefit is this year with that, and make a decision on it next year. That would be my take.
but we are gonna have, with this, we will have.
Either way, we're gonna have representation there, but through our participation in the Northern Kentucky River Region Tourism Entity.
Will we have our own little banner of Mason County? Is there anything that kind of will offset us?
They will
Make us
have,
pop out, so to speak?
no, sir. I mean, we'll be one of, I think, 6 counties, 5 counties that are in the Northern Kentucky River Region, and that's all on one page. You know,
But I guess years ago, we used to send people down, put them in hotels.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We don't do that anymore.
Used to have our own booth, yes. What are other options that we said?
If, for what, to do our own? It's a little late in the game this year. We can definitely look at that next year. I think the Pride of Counties at the State Fair has always been a very large portion of the State Fair. It's very well attended.
Yes.
I think that if we can get help from the city and their tourism and donations from the city, that's something maybe next year we could look at again. When we had enough time to plan, we'd have to have someone head it, we'd have to have enough volunteers, and that's the problem.
Right.
Is finding, I mean, you can leave your table empty or leave with no people.
Right.
It just doesn't look good. And
Right.
there are days that it's empty if we don't have enough volunteers. And we would have to discuss budgeting for hotel rooms if you wanted to. That's the way you'll get people to come volunteer,
Right.
because when they leave at 6, 7, 8 at night, they don't want to drive home from Louisville. They'd like to spend the night and leave the next morning. So that's something we can discuss for next year, but I think it would take help from the city, because they benefit from the tourism. This brings in tourism, and they're the ones that would have the benefit for it.
Right.
Although it's nice to represent Mason County. So I think that's something we discuss for next year.
We need a motion on that, Judge.
Yes, sir.
So moved. For the $500, yes.
Yeah,
And
second.
present how you present it, yes, sir.
Motion.
I'll second.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, yes. Thank you.
We got a motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
There's still plenty of time to discuss this. Things will pop up between now and
I think so.
August.
We're gonna touch base with our RSVP friend, a couple others. You know, see if there's an opportunity. This way, I think.
Perhaps
we'll
somebody,
have-
sorry, perhaps somebody may want to go down for half a day, you know,
Sure.
since we're not going to
Yeah.
put people up in hotels and things like that, go half a day.
Roll call on that, please.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
No, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioners, it brings us up to old business. We have a contract with Siemens Fire Service Agreement renewal. We've been with Siemens now for 6 years on this fire protection plan. That is our sprinkler system, alarms, things like that at the Justice Center. We did reach out for an additional quote through Alpha Services. The recommendation from our maintenance department is to stay with Siemens Fire Service due to the relationships they have performed. I mean, they came over, I think yesterday, on a leaking riser, got it transitioned out. And so, looking for approval for the Siemens Fire Service agreement renewal
So move.
for the Justice Center.
I'll second.
Any additional discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. And lastly, that brings up vehicles needed at the road department. We've got Director Joe Brown here today that has put in some research on these vehicles. Come up and join us, Joe.
Good morning.
Joe. Hey, how y'all? What we, you wanna talk, Judge?
Yeah, to bring the court back up to speed, at our last meeting, we discussed the vehicles, just specifically the road department has, being truck 400 with 198,948 miles, truck 401 with 217,321. 402 has 330,591 miles. Truck 416 just turned over 300,000 miles at 300,321. Truck 412, which is the mower truck, has a head gasket issue. The mileage is at 163,050 miles, and truck 417, which is the plow truck, 181,092 miles. Each of these vehicles has listed out an additional issue from, the head gasket issue to, rusted frame, oil pressure issues, and stuck cylinders, apparently. We had a discussion at the last meeting after reviewing our inventory about a strategy moving forward on these vehicles. Do we continue to patch with higher mileage used vehicles where we would spend, in our estimation, $36,000 to $38,000 for 80 to 120,000 mile vehicle, or spend approximately $8,000 to $10,000 more for a new state contract stripped down vehicle, but that also comes with the normal 5-year warranty. And so we charged Director Brown, Director Cooley is also here today in doing some research on what some of our best options were. Last month, the court's collective thought was to explore new vehicles. And I think we have some quotes in there.
Yes, sir. I reached out to the state contracting, Bachman Chevrolet and Freedom Dodge and Dan Cummins is what I found out on the state contracts. But when you go to, as far as the 2,500 that we was talking about, for example, the Bachman Chevrolet, the 2,500 came in at $50,130. If you go back to Dan Cummins, and then Freedom Dodge was like $52,000. Dan Cummins came in at 45,401 and 46,401 on the same truck.
Okay, so coming for a 2,500.
2,500 crew cab, 4-wheel drive,
Yes, sir.
Dodge, Ram. yes, sir.
Diesel or gas?
Gas, we didn't want the diesel.
And that was 46.
But yes, sir, it's 46,401 and 45,401. He said he didn't know what the difference was, it's the same. It's the same
Okay.
truck. And then the Bachman Chevrolet came in at, what he quoted me was 50,130 for the crew cab gas 4-wheel drive.
2,500.
2,500. Yeah, all this is 2,500.
And all the warranty, stuff like that, are separate, correct?
Yes, they got a 3-year bumper to bumper or a 5-year or 60,000 mile, whichever comes first. There's another little creek there that he talked about, that Bachman talked about, that we could maybe go with. That was a 100,000 mile warranty, but he really didn't. He said it's different vehicles. So basically it's the same warranty, 3-year, 36,000, bumper to bumper, or 5-year, 60,000.
We look at one truck.
2. The 2 trucks, me and the judge had talked about, I've got the livestock truck will need to be sold.
That was my next question, that's surplus.
And then the 401, the Duramax truck will need to be sold, so we'll be buying truck, 2 selling, 2 and buying 2.
Financing with Tim, everything okay?
Yes, I haven't made any calls yet. It'll be similar to everything we've already had. I'll just go with the lowest interest rate, and that'll probably be KeyCorp or US Bank.
So
Depending
Joe,
on-
sorry.
No, I'm done. That's it. Go ahead.
So Joe, if you surplus these, how much do you think that they would bring that you could not have to finance?
To be honest with you, and I'm just giving you,
Yeah.
I'm just talking.
Sure.
Yes. The old Ford livestock truck ain't gonna bring much.
Okay,
It might bring $1,500, $2,000. I'm thinking the Duramax might bring 6,000 or 7,000 because of the engine. Body
You said
shot.
67, how much?
6 or 7.
Oh, 6 or 7.
You get
Gotta
excited.
say.
I did too. I was like, what?
I had to hold on there a minute. I think it'll bring 6 or 7,000 anyway because of the engine, the body shot. But everybody, it's a sought after engine that somebody can rebuild,
so if say they both bought 7,000, that's 7,000 off the original price that you wouldn't have to finance, right, Kim?
It just depends on when we can have the surplus sale.
Yeah.
You know, either way, the money either way will go into the road fund, of course.
Right.
But if we don't have the surplus sale, if we do this and move forward, they'll need to take care of it and do it now to keep these rates, or to keep these prices. So I would have to go ahead and finance.
I get that,
Mhm.
but when they were sold, put it toward the principal.
Just a minute.
We can, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a problem.
I think that, Kim, I'm not mistaken, I think Sherry might know. Isn't that a tentative date on that auction, August the 10th?
It's tentative.
10th, yeah, for the auction.
Right.
surplus officer.
Our surplus officer. Travis, how's the landfill stand?
How's the landfill stand?
Yes, sir.
We got 2 road legal trucks. That's all we have. One I drive and one that the guy that runs the top.
Okay.
Supervisor up top. That's the only road legal trucks we have. Everything else we got is just
Yep.
kind of run off from all the other departments. The sheriff's office gave us one, it's been 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, we just get the,
Hand it down.
well, I mean, Henry Boone, the original Ford that he
Right.
started solid waste enforcement in, we have it out there.
That's been all kinds.
But you have to, commissioners, you also have to remember, we gotta keep the 2 streams separate, the landfill
Right.
to the county, but, I think it's important to think in terms of, well, there will be or is already probably a need at the landfill now. Mechanically, that will go through the landfill committee, but probably will be a recommendation that, they need to look at a truck there. Do you feel like that will be a recommendation coming from the landfill committee?
Yeah, I mean, I can get all the mileage and stuff for you all, okay, and the issues we've got with everything, but like I said, we only had 2.
So are you reaching out to businesses and?
I've reached out to McFarland's and a few others about used vehicles. Joe has been quoting those new vehicles.
So we'll go both ways, and like I said, we'll try to do local first.
Like I said, I reached out to McFarland's and
When we have our landfill committee, we'll have all the information
Yes,
together, and
yes.
recommendations. And we need to get on a schedule where we need to buy trucks so many years, so we don't fall behind. We were discussing this, we tried to use RAF for several years, and I just think it's a good idea just to, every so often,
And-
to replenish one, instead of having to turn around and buy 2 and 3 at the same time. It'd be easier on our budget.
Agreed. But I'll say we have done a very good job wringing every bit of use out of these trucks, and I'll verify for Travis and the landfill, making sure we're getting every bit of use out of it.
Oh, if you get 300,000, like 300 miles out of a truck. Yeah, absolutely. So,
like I said, the only thing we have out there is, as far as, I've got a 2013 and then the guy on top's got he's got Todd's old truck, would be a 2020.
So Travis, you say you got 2 that's on the road now. How many do you normally have on the road?
Well, we used to have 4 on the road, but I mean, the
Right.
landfill, I mean, we're beating up down that hill in the landfill. I mean, it's rough on them.
Hard on them.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I
And
get
you
that.
take a truck with 150,000 miles on it, and you run it up and down through there for 6-8 months, everything starts getting loose in it, it just starts falling apart.
Are they diesel or gas?
Gas. Yeah, I mean, that's the boat we're sitting in.
Yeah.
We're about like Joe. I mean, they're just getting old and wore out. It's time to replace.
So Joe, 2 new ones come in, what does the shift look like? Does that make sense?
Two good trucks would put us in pretty good shape, because we can take the old long truck, excuse me, put it on the livestock truck. It's a retired truck, the livestock truck.
Sure, yeah.
And then the third one, and then the other truck will be 2 trucks sold, so that'll put us in pretty good shape. And we had a hold for a good while. But then we're in we was talking about the 417 truck. 417 was the last new truck we bought, it was a 2011 F3. So, that truck still runs good, but the problem is it needs a bed. It needs a bed.
Yeah,
So we need to put a flatbed on that in order to solve the roads.
sure.
I mean, we've tried every way in the world to make it work, it just, you can only do so much.
Yep, no, I agree.
You know, you can only do so much. And like, the sheriff's office is has given us, you know, the old Suburban, the old Ford truck.
Yes, sir.
I mean, everything was, it's all right.
A lot of our vehicles are not located because the frames are rotting too long. And I know Joe, he's running the same issue that on Dodge.
Well, that 905, it's got a track frame, and we're gonna try to fix it now that we're using on it.
So what's the use, what do you need out of your trucks besides being able to go up and down at the landfill?
Well, myself and another guy, we're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay.
And then, you know, I need something readily available in case something happens to something we have.
Well, the solid waste is
Shane.
technically a landfill.
His truck belongs to a landfill, but it's one of them things that we just had it, McFarland's went through it and a couple years ago, and they want to charge $13,000 to put a motor in it. The truck's got over 100,000 miles on it, the frame's rusty on it. So they told us that do a tune-up on it, and it would be fine. So they done their tune-up and ended up charging us more money for that, and what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
The same thing happened again, and Shane had to take it back out there, so we're just putting Band-Aids on them.
Right.
They call it the cylinder deactivation thing. And these trucks get, it's supposed to help save with mileage, but
Fuel mileage, yeah.
ends up
And that's
messing the truck up.
Shane's that you're talking about, which, I mean, he's out on the road, he's
Yes.
all over the county.
My personal opinion, I don't think you should be running around that truck, just because it's in the shape it's in. Of course, it's went through 4 people now. It started at garbage collection. Henry Boone had it too. Like I said, we're just getting runoffs. It's been passed down, passed down, passed down.
Kim, what did we did the surplus 2 years ago now?
2 or 3.
Do you remember the amount? Didn't it raise either 180 or 80?
It was over 100,000 total
Yeah.
that we were able to put towards.
But I don't know if you count on that. Well, I mean, that was the first surplus we had.
Right.
7 years, 6 years.
I don't know about counting on it, but if you would like, we could get together with department heads and maybe just figure out what everybody, get a list of everything they've got, what they may or may not
Yep.
need.
I think
And
Sherry's already started on that master list, maybe.
then we'll get together and I can talk to a few local banks and then Keiko and find out, maybe we do a rotating thing for 3 or 4 different funds at a time.
Yep.
That we could get a better rate that way,
Mhm.
because rates aren't great right now, but
Mhm.
that might lower it enough. And we would have the budget in each fund to take care of 1 to 2 if you wanted to do some type of rotating schedule, but we need to look at it. But we can do that if we've got all the information.
Yes, most of it, other than
From
the
every
last
fund,
minute
yeah.
additions.
Every department, okay. Yep,
Yes.
just to see if it would be a possibility even.
So commissioners, my recommendation would be the 2 for the road department and expect 1 coming in the landfill. Within the quarter, I guess.
They're definitely needed, I mean, the used truck market as it is, it's just much, we'll get much more out of it by buying new.
And a lot of the used vehicles, we would have to pay outright cash.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. We can
So that's what
finance.
you have to think too, is cash flow in those departments.
That one truck was 2,000, not 2,000, that one truck was 2,000 and 8, and we won 28,000 short.
That's
The other one
crazy.
was 2011,
Yes, sir.
and we won almost 34,000 for it, and it over 100,000 miles. I mean, it's just crazy.
Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and make the motion to go ahead and purchase the 2 trucks from the road department. And we'll talk about your situation at the next landfill committee and get with Kim in regards to all this financing. So,
What was your motion? again?
I'm just gonna make the motion for right now for the 2 trucks for the road department.
I'll second that motion.
The two Dodge gas,
Yes.
uh,
46,401 and 45,401, I think were the two bids on it.
Yes.
so we have a motion, we have a second, sorry.
But they're over 40,000, so are we?
They're state contracts, so we
State
don't have to
contract,
bid,
state
yeah.
contract, yeah.
That's another thing that's difficult.
So we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioners, it brings us up to communications. We have our friends with Macy's Fireworks have soft open. They will also do a grand opening Thursday at noon. A lot of our other projects are moving along well. I stopped at the Primary Plus facility yesterday afternoon. They have their 4 residents up and going over the weekend, repaved and streetscaped the parking lot down there. So now you go completely around the building with a new entrance added. They will actually begin seeing patients come Monday. We're expecting a official grand opening, I think in October, according to
Okay, all right.
economic development. Other than that, any updates from you guys? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
Yes,
Judge-
yes, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Okay.
We're adjourned.